Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this. XRP holders are going to be real upset after watching this. Now, I'm going to play just a quick piece of this video. And I don't know if this guy is purposely, pushing FUD, or if he just doesn't understand what's going on in this space. Take a listen.
XRP holders are going to be really upset when they find out what just happened. And trust me, I'm not a hater. I just made a course in my community about the adoption of XRP and XLM with realistic time frames, and it's the first coin course I put in my community. But of course, I'm going to be skeptical about XRP when I see that USDC now allows merchants, any business in the world, to transact for no fee. Zero fee at all, like no fee at all. Coinbase just launched something called Base Pay.
First of all, nothing comes for free when it comes to Coinbase. And does he not realize that USDC is a stable coin? So it's also going to eventually need a bridge as well. And remember, USDC is now running across the XRP ledger. And why would XRP holders be upset? XRP is a cryptocurrency. USDC is a stable coin. Right away, they try to create this narrative where USDC is going to do everything that XRP hoped to do. XRP is going to emerge as the world's bridge currency. It's going to bridge USDC. It's going to bridge RLUSD. It's going to bridge the US digital dollar. It's going to bridge the digital euro. It's going to bridge tokenized assets. And I could continue to go on and on. There is no XRP killer. And I honestly believe that guy just wanted to create FUD around XRP, because all of a sudden that seems to be very trendy if you do that. Bank and Ripple are both also working with Dubai's land department on real estate. This comes from Wrath of Common, and he made some great connections here. Zand approved to manage regulated escrow accounts with adoption of blockchain and AI. Ripple via Control Alt supports XRP ledger property title tokenization, so payments, real estate, and more. Zand is also already a partner with FOMOPay, who uses Ripple payments for treasury and liquidity management, ODL. Zand serves institutional flows, so Ripple can create connected but vertical segmented domains using Ripple payments and XRP in the UAE. He says this structure matters for XRP. When Ripple links two licensed endpoints, XRP becomes an allowed option for bridging AED and SGD, tokenized and trusted. XRP between potentially. XRP can serve as a bridge asset between separate liquidity zones or layers. So this is great for XRP holders because they could utilize XRP between these corridors for on-demand liquidity as well. I want to see where this goes from here. I just thought that was a great thread, and he made some great connections there. Did I hear super cycle? The 4-year cycle is dead, and adoption killed it. Take a listen to this, and I'll give you my thoughts.
4-year cycle, is it still intact?
Oh, yeah. So I think I'm somebody that thinks it will be intact, but it's going to be muted. I mean, if you look at it, I think those loops are kind of getting smaller. Like if you think about it like a roller coaster that's going down, I just think it's the amplitude isn't going to be as much. Like I don't know if we'll see like an 80% pullback. Could we see 50? Maybe something along those lines. I don't know. I won't pretend to be like a.
Now take notice, he said he doesn't see pullbacks happening. I've been telling you the same thing.
Fortune teller, but I just think like as these institutions come in, more stable money, stable backing, forced buyers in a way with these treasury companies and different things. I think the amplitude of those cycles is going to go down, and it won't be as like strict like on the money where everything collapses in November or December of like whatever year is coming up. So yeah, I don't think it's completely done, just because human nature, liquidity cycles, you name it. But I just think it's getting more and more mature. And these people we're talking about, advisors, institutions, if they're going for like a 3, 4, 5% allocation, if all of a sudden it jumps up to 10% of their portfolio and they're not ready to do that, they're going to sell as it goes up. But the inverse is true too. If it goes from 5% to 2% or 2.5%, they're going to rebalance and end up buying. So I think that possibly will, as vol is coming down, part of the vol coming down is like the upside is going to be a little bit more capped, but I think also the downside should be a little more capped. So yeah, I think it's likely that's still going to go, but less amplitude.
I love it. Well, James and I agree on one thing and disagree on the other. So maybe we'll put a sushi dinner bet on whether the price goes up or down in 2026. I agree that flows are going to accelerate for all the reasons that James said. These national account platforms are just now unlocking. For what it's worth, the due diligence they do is absolutely extraordinary. The most recent package we filled out was 650 pages long and involved multiple on-site visits from their teams. They really do this at a serious level. That's why it takes a long time. The other fact I would add, sad fact for me, but a fun fact for you, is the average Bitwise client allocates after 8 meetings. And if they started doing quarterly meetings when the Bitcoin ETF launched, they finish that run at the end of this year and start allocating in 2026. These people just move slower than crypto retail is used to. And so I think we'll set a new record for flows this year. I think we'll set a new record for flows next year, and so on.
Now, I think Matt Hugin is wrong. He's expecting more people to get into the Bitcoin ETFs, not only this year, but next year as well. People are already looking beyond the Bitcoin ETFs. Wait until there's an XRP ETF. I'm telling you, they're going to 4x those Bitcoin ETFs. And the ETFs are not going to be what changes the 4-year cycle so much. It's going to be utility and actual adoption, where you have companies buying something like XRP and actually utilizing it for its use case. That's what's going to keep XRP from having those major crashes happening or the major pullback happening. I think they're going to be far and in between once utility gets here. But I do believe the 4-year cycle is going to end. And what's really going to kill it is the use of these cryptocurrencies. Utility will kill the 4-year cycle. But Bitcoin is still going to crash out once this cycle ends. It's propped up by Tether, minted out of thin air. It runs on hype and speculation. The ECB, the BIS, they both said that it's in a bubble and the bubble will eventually pop. And I agree with that. I think it's going to come once Tether starts to collapse out. Brad Garlinghouse stated that Ripple's goal isn't to partner with Swift, but to replace it, highlighting that over 100 Swift-linked banks are already using Ripple's technology. I definitely believe Ripple will eventually replace Swift. But what if XRP's projected price, what would it be if it processed 28% of Swift transactions for the next 10 years? Now, first of all, this would happen way before 10 years. This would end up happening over most likely the next 2, possibly 3 years. So what they're saying is that the price would go anywhere between $175 per XRP to maybe $350 per XRP. Now, the value that Swift moves right now is only going to grow over time. So those numbers would grow with it. And I still think that Ripple, within the next couple of years, will most likely can take over all of Swift's business. Like I said in multiple videos, Swift might have 11,000 customers, but they're unhappy customers. You already know they're unhappy customers because you hear Don Jr. talk about it. You hear other people that utilize the SWIFT system on a daily, process. I mean, they use it all the time and they're not happy with it. And here's Brad already telling you that Ripple has partnered with 100 banks. And this is an older clip. Now I think it's up to almost 200 banks that Ripple is partnered up with. Take a listen.
Settlement between banks. So today, if Morgan wanted to send this $10,000 to London right now, the fastest way for her to do that is to drive to Newark or JFK and fly it there. Our view is, in a world of the internet, you can stream video from the space station. You should be able to do real-time settlement between banks, and we sell technology to banks to do that.
And the banks are getting on board with this because they know there's a lot of paper pushing and also a lot of money attached to those settlements.
For sure. So we have over 100 banks working with Ripple today around the world. I think the vast majority of banks, like 99.9% of banks, actually are paying other banks, the global money center banks like JP Morgan or Citibank, to make those settlements. So a lot of the banks are very excited about democratizing how these global payments flow.
The banks want to also unlock the Nostro Vostro accounts, $27 trillion that has to be locked up. Now, you unlock that money, and all of a sudden, those banks can use that money for something else. That's why the banks will definitely go with Ripple's option. That's why the shift started happening a long time ago. The shift from SWIFT to Ripple started a while ago. It didn't start in the past couple of months. Major bank CEO announces XRP and Ripple are about to move trillions of dollars. They're tokenizing the entire global financial system. Take a listen to this, because this guy sums it up in 1 minute.
Talking about another major would be Ripple, XRP. So, the SEC made this very interesting stance against it in January of 21. Bank of America had been utilizing it for 100% of their internal transactions for approximately 2 years, and they was shut down. And so this really efficient system, the second largest coin, now is way back because of how it was regulated. And so that regulator is getting out now, Gary Gensler. And so, and President Trump's met with the CEO of Ripple a couple times. And so I personally think that Ripple is being looked at by the United States as a SWIFT system alternative, as we are looking at digitizing, tokenizing, and Ripple has the ability to kind of be like the internet and be this platform that can be the guardrails of the future, where we tokenizing with HBAR and XLM and different coins like this. But it's an exciting time. I'm just looking for the application so that we can now start talking to regular folks every day, and we can say, this is how this changes your life, not just here's the technology's name.
And he gets it. He sees this shift happening as well. And that's what I've been trying to tell you this entire time, is I see it already. The digital shift has been happening for a while now, but the timeline is accelerating. It's no longer 2030, that's for sure. And Ripple is going to replace SWIFT sooner than people think. Because SWIFT, they want to stay in the past. The banks, they want to stay in the past as well. JP Morgan would love to go for another 20 years in this current financial system because they make a lot of money off of it. Now they're going to figure out ways to make money inside the new financial system. But everything's going to be real-time payments, and it's going to be cheap payments. And real-time payments are going to get mass adoption because everybody wants instant gratification. That's why this is happening. And Paul Barron put out this poll, and I thought I would share it with you because it puts into perspective what's really going on. So what bag are you adding to right now? And you see Bitcoin, 3.1% only. Retail is not buying Bitcoin because there'll never be a whole coiner. Most of retail investors will never even achieve one whole Bitcoin. ETH, 4%. XRP, 76.5%. Other altcoins list below. 76.5%. People are buying this cryptocurrency because they know what it's capable of. They want to make sure they capitalize on what's going to happen next. But retail is not buying Bitcoin. And, retail's now coming back. I see a lot of new investors in this space every single day. And I like the idea of that because these are now new investors that are about to learn how big XRP is going to become. Next week, the Fed will decide whether to cut, hike, or keep rates unchanged. What's your prediction? If Powell cuts rates next week, it's go time. If he leaves rates unchanged, expect more sideways action on the price of crypto. If he decides to hike the rates up, that would be catastrophic right now. I'd expect every single cryptocurrency to start plummeting down. Now, my personal opinion is he's most likely going to leave rates unchanged. I think he's just a spiteful old man, and I think he just wants to spite the president. Trump's calling for a rate cut, so Powell's not going to cut the rates. If he does, I will be shocked. But if that was to happen, we're looking at a very big week ahead next week. But for now, everything looks great for XRP. I don't see it plummeting down to under $2 like some people are thinking. In fact, I think it's about to make the next move up. And that next move up on XRP could be well above $5. I see a lot of people thinking that's going to happen. I would like to see us get above $4. Maybe go sideways for a little bit, then push up over $5. Then I think we would hold above $5 and continue higher. Let's see where we go from here. And until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.